Taxman returns 1 lakh in the high-risk category. Suspicious amounts to the tune of 1.72 lakh crore rupees. That's the word coming in from the CBDT chief. Comply or the department will take action. Lata also joins us now with more on the numbers that the government has today shared with us in terms of the impact of demonetisation. Also joining us, our panel of experts, K.C. Chakrabarti, the former Deputy Governor of the Reserve Bank, Soumyakanti Ghosh, Chief Economic Advisor of SBI, Dinesh Kanabar, CEO of Dhruva Advisors, and Pranav Saitha, partner and national tax leader at EY India. Appreciate you joining us here on the show. Pranav Saitha, if I can start by asking you what you have made of the comments coming in from the CBDT, from the government, and how they've categorized people in the high-risk category, medium-risk category and low-risk category. And the message from the tax department is very, very clear. Either you comply or we're coming after you.
Yeah, so my initial feel is it's a good thing. People wanted to know that the entire demonetization effort was not going to be a wasted effort with so much pain cost to everyone. So the fact that they have done a lot of homework, a lot of data analysis, which today is possible in today's day and age under the computerized and digital economy that we live in, is a good thing. They are trying to drive behavioral change by making India a more tax-compliant society, which is good. One does hope that they succeed in this, but I think three big-ticket things that we can see is there's a clear attempt to increase and improve the tax base. That's the first T. Second, they are using technology to the maximum and to the best possible use. One hopes that some of this, as we scrub deeper and go into the details, proves as to be correct. And third T, I would say, is transparency. They seem to be saying that we will put all of this on the portal, that there will be no human intervention, that this will be monitored through technology and so on. So I think increase in tax base, the transparency with which they are going about it, and the use of technology to the best possible extent are good things. We have to wait and see how exactly this unfolds.
Dinesh Kanabar, picking up on what Pranav Saitha has said, that there are clear attempts to improve the tax base. The use of technology is being leveraged by the tax department, and there is the promise of transparency. But the fear of tax terrorism, which is not a new fear in this country, do you believe that given what you've seen and heard so far, those concerns perhaps have been allayed?
The way I would look at it is, I was hearing the chairman CBDT, and the question which was being repeatedly posed to him is, how do you identify somebody as being high risk, medium risk, and low risk? And I think his answer was very categorical and very welcome to say that it depends on the behavior of the person concerned. So as an illustration, if somebody has got an income of 5 lakh of rupees declared over the last 5 years and suddenly deposits 2 crores in cash, obviously there is something which is high risk and suspicious. I'm just putting sort of an example to illustrate. And therefore what the CBDT is trying to do here is, instead of bundle people on the basis of industry in which they are really carrying out sort of data analytics and using analytics to the core to say that this is a sort of a person who has deposited cash, who ought to have been a higher taxpayer, is not discharging his dues, and is somebody whom we should go after. Whereas somebody else who's declaring a huge income, if he has put 10 lakhs of rupees as cash, is of no consequence at all, because he can very easily explain. So I think the use of analytics is something which will allow the Central Board of Direct Taxes to go after the right people. And if that happens, and again, given the fact that there is very minimal human intervention here, I think the fears of tax terrorism ought not to be there at all.
Okay. Mr. Kanabar, thanks for that. This certainly didn't sound like tax terrorism. It certainly sounded like a government trying to ensure that citizens do what they should be doing, even without any exhortation by the government, pay their taxes. But, I'm just worried about the end result. There has been concerted effort, you will have to say, with the entire government machinery trying to ensure that the demonetization exercise results in more taxes. From November 16th, 2016 to March 2017, the enforcements and surveys have got an undisclosed income of 16,318 crore. Now, that looks like a small amount of money. That is disclosed income. And from that, taxes maybe probably 1/3 or half. So that's 8,000 crore. So with the best efforts in 6 months, if we are able to unearth probably 8,000 crore of taxes, does it look like too much effort for a small amount of money? Dr. Chakrabarti, you want to take that?
I am always saying that, you see, I have nothing to do, this government must do. But what I am saying, to take the people who are not paying the tax, people who are not tax compliant, who are the high-risk people, this is a normal job. Now, if you want to say the government has to demonetize and put the entire population into inconvenience, and then only it can happen, I think this itself asks the question about our administration. So I am always saying that, look, so okay, after this, after 5 years, again we will do another demonetization. And is it going to happen? Because if your system is not functioning, you will be following up all these high-risk cases, low-risk cases, medium-risk cases with the same machinery, and it will not give you the result.
Yeah,
All what I am saying that no other country, many other countries are much better tax compliant. They are not to resort for demonetization to make the country tax compliant.
Yep. Sir, I take your point. That's exactly what I'm saying, that the rewards don't seem to be commensurate with the amount of effort that the country has put in and that the common citizen has suffered by way of pain. It's a pity. I mean, it's not to blame the government, but it is just that it reflects very badly on the entire effort and on our tax compliance. As well, another number which came in terms of, the benefits of in terms of tax collections was there has been a 17% growth in gross tax collection, was what the CBDT chairman said. I looked at the previous years. There has been an 18% growth in FY16 over FY15 in terms of direct tax collection. So 17% growth in gross collections doesn't seem like reward enough for putting the country through demonetization and, this very careful combing operation. Dinesh Kalabar, how would you respond to this? Mighty effort, is the result commensurate?
So, Lata, we are maybe midway through an exercise, and you're talking about a 6-month and 8,000 crore or whatever that number is of collection, enhanced collection.
If that.
And all that I'm saying is that as you hear what the chairman CBDT said, he spoke about high-risk identification as totaling to 1,72,000 crores. Now, if we accept the point which you did accept that this does not sound like tax terrorism at all, and let's not go down this path as to whether this could have been discovered in the ordinary course of business or was a demonetization necessary. The fact of the matter is that if we have 1,72,000 crore of income or deposits identified as high risk, and let's assume even 20%, 25% of that actually turns out to be so, then we are looking at significant numbers. So rather than judge the government halfway through an exercise, would it just not be appropriate to wait for the exercise to reach? So maybe something has just gone out. Now, just imagine, through the length and breadth of the country, deposits have been made. And analytics has been done. Something has now been put up onto a portal. Tax collection succeeds such an amount. And I think it's just appropriate. I'm not trying to defend. This is not a political statement. All that I'm saying is that you are looking at taxes and... So all that I'm saying is that from purely a tax perspective, I think there needs to be a time given to the government to really come back and show that as a result of this, if 1,72,000 crores is a huge, huge number, it's not a small number, Lata.
You're right. No, you're absolutely right, Mr. Kanabar, and I don't think that Lata was trying to dispute that number or the possibility of a large sum of that number coming back.
1 minute.
Into the system. But let me get...
Shireen, even in that 18 lakh cases, the amount that these 18 lakh, the first phase is an 18 lakh set of high-risk people whom the administration is surveying, analyzing, or trying to enforce to pay. The amount at risk over there, or the amount over there, is 2.89 lakh crore. Not a small amount. But my point is that in spite of these big numbers, and these are clearly the most, high-risk cases, which is why the government is going after them first. I'm just saying that in terms of yield, it is not looking very big as of now. We have to do much more combing operations. I hope 50,000 crore is yielded from them. That 1.72 lakh crore of high-risk cases, if that 1.72 lakh crore, 25% is actually undisclosed income, even that is big.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it looks like after 6 months, you've got about, say, 8,000 crore by way of taxes. This looks like another 2-year effort.
Yes, but as of now, these are the numbers. Let me bring in Soumya Kanti Ghosh into the conversation as well. Soumya Kanti, as we wait, as Dinesh Kanabar said, to get the final assessment of what the drive has actually meant in terms of enhancing the tax base, in terms of the mop-up for the government, what do you make of these numbers and the economic impact?
No, see, I think there is both a short-term and a long-term story to it. I think the short-term story, which you have just pointed out, maybe the efforts which has been put in by the government may not look that significant as of now. But if I just analyze some of the numbers which came up in the course of the discussion, I think the analytics of that is huge. For example, you were talking about a numbers of around 2.9 lakh crores, which is an undisclosed income, or a part of that could be undisclosed. Now, as per the scheme which the government has launched, 50% of that will be taxed and 25% will stay in the banking system over the period of next years. So and that is already visible if you look into the data with the banking system as of now, because initially what was happening was that initially the banks thought that a large part of that amount of money will actually go out. For example, our bank thought that around 80% of the money could go out. Now we are recalibrating the number and saying at least 40 to 50% of that amount of money will stay in the system. So one visible benefit of this exercise is that as long as this money stays within the system and there is abundant liquidity, there will be pressure on the interest to come down. This is point number one. The point number two is that the size of as of today, as on 5th May, I think around 12 lakh crores of money was demonetized out of 15.44 lakh crores. So that makes it around 78%. Now, if you look into the size of the digital economy in India right now, we made an estimation which is around 2.3 lakh crores, I think somewhere between October to November. As of now, we are estimating that this number could actually go up to 3.5 lakh crores over a period, or it has already gone up. So if that is the case, there is significant and incremental benefit in terms of the total digitization number. And finally, as the FM also said in the course of the discussion, I think whatever we are discussing as of now, all these taxes, remember, they will now have to file taxes for the, they will now be brought into the tax net. And I think around 91 lakh people or some, I think that was the number which the FM mentioned, close to 1 crore people.
Yes, that is the number.
That is the material advantage over the next 2 to 3 years. So the more people come into the tax net, the more will be the possibility of the taxes actually going down over the future. So I think you have to look it from a long-term perspective. Maybe 6 months will not suffice, maybe over a period of 1-2 years. And given India's fiscal position that we need a lot of money for these infrastructure purposes, I think these benefits will show up clearly over a period of the medium term and not immediately.
All right, gentlemen, we will have to leave it there. The benefits will show up in the medium to long term, perhaps not in the immediate term, but nevertheless, we are seeing a move towards better tax compliance, hopefully, and the tax department claims that it is dealing with large numbers, so seeking compliance from assessees or the taxman will ensure that you are compliant.